To begin.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Thank
Hello.
you for coming back into the podcast, Social Primate, after a month. I know everybody was like, hey, where's the episodes at? I was like, hey, you gotta wait. But the waiting's done, and today we have Laura Rivas with us. And on the phone, I believe he's still on the phone, we have uh, Rukshan.
Rukshan.
Rukshan, man, I'm sorry. Rukshan. We have him on the phone. I believe he's still on the phone. If not, he'll probably give us a call back in a couple of minutes. But what's up, Laura?
Thank you for having us. Can you hear us, Rukshan?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, there he is.
Awesome. Rukshan, do you want to start out and tell us
Yeah, I can. Yeah, let me start off kind of giving the log line of Tiny Laughs. So Tiny Laughs is about a queer Latina architect who is struggling to get a job promotion at work. She goes to an improv class, and there she meets her love interest, who is an Asian stand-up comedian who just came out as unemployed. And so their instant spark sets them on a humorous journey through the city of dreams, which is Los Angeles. And Los Angeles is also the third character in our web series. And we just wanted to pay homage to the city that we grew up in and how much it's changed and how much we are a part of it, just as it is a part of us.
Gotcha. So, well, with having both of you here, I know we're gonna have later on. I believe it's the lead, one of the lead actresses on there. Okay, cool. So while you guys are here, can you give us like your titles or your positions in regards to where you guys stood in this project?
Sure. We're the co-creators.
Mhm.
I'm the executive producer and director, and Rukshan is the writer and producer. And we met at work. We work in post-production, and after 3 years of me being in that job, I said to Rukshan, you know what, because I live close to my job, but I grew up in Southgate, and I had a meeting with my boss, and she was just like, well, I don't see you growing, and then I was just like, do I really want to do this for the rest of my life? And I just made the decision. I was like, I'm gonna move back with my parents and save up for 6 months. And the good thing about the job is that I had a lot of OT. I was working from 9 to 2 a.m. Monday through Saturday, and then Sunday was 9 to 6 p.m.
Damn. Back to back.
Yeah, for 3 months,
Yeah.
Or sometimes when we have big projects or whatever. But I said to him, you know what, I wanted to direct, and if I can do it now, this is the time to do it. And so when I moved back with my parents, for those 6 months, him and I were meeting at a coffee shop near work and just going over the storyline, and it's primarily based in our experience, and just we wanted to create something great, and we're we're tired of no, so why not just do it on our own? And do you want to add anything, Rukshan?
Yeah, like Laura said, we were both really stifled at work, and she wanted to direct, and I wanted to write, and I was also a struggling writer. And when she approached me and said, "Hey, let's make a web series," I was like, "Absolutely, let's do it." Tired of no's, and just tell yourself yes. And I think that our generations as millennials, we know we were always the people that are like, we're going to do it ourselves and not wait for the previous generation to give us the go ahead. It's like we're going to be our own makers and creators, and so that's how we started. And,
yeah, exactly. It's like a do-yourself culture, and you start doing it. It's more independent, right? Because you're breaking free from any. I guess what are they called? Studios in that sense, in studios or agencies, you're breaking free from them to kind of take on your own project, right?
Yeah.
So now with both of you guys have both been in that industry for a while.
Yeah, probably both been 6 years, 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's rounding out of 6 years now.
Yeah, 6 years. Yeah.
How has that been?
He was, like I told you earlier before we started the show, he was just like, hey, the first week, literally that first day, he's like, are you familiar with Avril Lavigne? And I was just like, what does Avril Lavigne have to do with NBC? But I was just like, okay, we're going to do a live talk show or whatever, satellite media tours. That's what it's officially called, satellite media tours, where we have talent talk to different stations across the nation. And I was just like, sure, I'll do it. And it was Adam Levine.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It was Alan Levine, so I did that, and I also was part of the crew of going on set and interviewing the cast. And so the first thing that I did for that department, after 3 months of being an intern and answering phones and getting tapes, because they were transitioning from tapes to digital,
Mm-hmm.
I cut a piece for Chicago Fire. Because again, they taught us how to edit in that program, and he loved it. And he's like, "All right, kid, you have a future. I'll extend your internship, but
Okay.
something that my sister taught me too, because she's a lawyer,
Mm-hmm.
and it just happens that she's an intellectual property lawyer. And she was still finishing up law school when I was at NBC, and she told me, "Don't ever agree to anything until they give you a contract." And we had a meeting, and he told me, "Okay, you've done great,"
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. And he announced it in like a group meeting. But the next day, I don't know what happened. He talked to finance, and he like I was getting my lunch in the kitchen, and he just walked by me real fast, and he's like, "Oh, by the way, I can't extend your internship, sorry," and then left. And I was just like,
What the?
and I had already given my 2 weeks notice at the high school in South Central where I worked, and my sister was just like, "You know
Damn.
what, like what you can do is just talk to him and just like, hey, I already gave my 2 weeks notice, like
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be out of the job." And he was a good boss, and he's like, "You know what, I did make a promise to you, like it wasn't in
Yeah.
paper, but so I'll figure whatever I can." And yeah, he extended my internship,
Yeah, yeah. Oh, okay.
and
So it worked out in that
yeah, it
sense
worked
at
out.
the end.
But
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. You almost had a heart attack. Yeah.
yeah, it was like that quick. It was
Yeah.
like, oh, but and then I went back to answering phones and getting tapes and
Mm-hmm.
just doing everything I can, getting there super early. And keep in mind, I was living over here,
Yeah.
so like going from Southeast LA all the way to Universal City, like that,
It's a drive.
Yeah,
It's a
and
short drive, but it's a long drive. Like it
yeah.
takes so fucking long. Yeah.
And then finally, one of the senior producers said to my main boss, he's like, "You know what? She does a good job. Like,
Mm-hmm.
let's give her a piece to produce." And so they allowed me to interview the whole cast of Parks and Recreation.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
So I got on
Yeah.
set, and actually I told them on the first day too, was like, "Hey, this is my favorite show. Like, I don't need to do anything, but can
Uh-huh.
I please be on set?" And it stuck in their minds, and they're like, "All right, cool. Like, let's do it." And I left NBC with that being my final project, and that kind of led to my next job. And so, yeah, those are the
Yeah.
experiences that I have.
Did you guys meet in the same place when you guys were working?
No, we met at Santa Monica College.
Mhm.
That was where the TV diversity program was at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Go for
Sorry,
it.
I was just saying, Rukshan, tell them about your background.
Yeah. So, and just to plug Santa Monica College, they have a really great post production program there. Like they've really beefed it up. So if anyone's out there is looking to like get into entertainment, that's a great place to go.
There you
It's the driving there and parking sucks, but it's a great place to go for that. And especially if you're trying to like go from there to transfer or just get like an associate's degree or a certification, great plug. So great place to go. So my background, I went to school for pre-med. I'm Asian, so my parents were like, "You should be a doctor, and you seem good at this." And so I was like, "All right, I'm gonna pursue this." But I always wanted to be a writer, and the more life experience I had under my belt, the more I realized that that's what I wanted to do. And the best way for me to do that would be to work in television and be a television writer. And it took me a while to get there. And for people from our backgrounds, especially immigrant backgrounds, we don't have that like person saying this is possible for you. So it was me taking initiative to figure it out myself that put me on this path. And so when I went through the program that we were part of, once I got out, I was placed at ABC in the promo department. And so I worked on stuff like How to Get Away with Murder and Grey's Anatomy and stuff like that. So once my internship was done, they also extended me, and they were like, "You're great, you're really hands on, and you're up to speed on everything." So they extended me, and once they extended me twice, they were like, "Well, thanks for everything, but we don't have a position for you." And that happens because just with headcount, and a lot of people in these studios and these networks, they don't leave because it's a great job and it's pays well, and you're there for a while, and you get to work on great projects. So at that point, Laura had just started her job in post production, and she said that there was something opening up in her department, and she asked me to interview. I went in for an interview, and thankfully I got the job, and that's how we have been working basically together for 6 years in the same department.
Dang, okay. So
Yeah.
so that's how what led to you guys meeting at that point. And
Yeah.
it was then that you guys decided to write and create Tiny Laughs.
Yeah, because one of the things that most artists struggle with is like, where do I get the money?
Mm-hmm.
And like I told you, I worked for a couple years, like a lot of OT, and I was just like, well, okay. I asked my boss for a raise, and she basically said like, okay, I'll give you like this amount, but not enough that
Mm-hmm.
like is it was easy for me to live closer to where I worked, and I was just like, ah, okay, fine, I have to
Yeah.
move back in, whatever, and save up that money at least, and just do the series to prove to people it's like, I don't care if you said no, like, shoot, I got my own money, and
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm just gonna
Yeah,
do
like
it,
you're gonna self-invest in it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think that's the best thing about like being Mexican and like going back to Mexico and seeing like cousins, and they're like, I'm just gonna like do it on the side and just
Mm-hmm.
put it in front of my house and sell stuff, and I was like, that's all I need to do. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. It
Like,
gets
just
that extra.
yeah, and I mean, it's been 3 years of hard work, and like the first year when we, uh, did the development of the series, and then the location scouting and casting. That took another 6 months, but I had a goal, and I was just like, by the end of
Mm-hmm.
2017, I want to film it. And sure enough, by November and December, on the weekends, we filmed the series, and it was wrapped. And
Yeah.
then all of 2018, it was just figuring out post production. But I mean, we know post production, and I do edit, but luckily. We have a lot of good friends from various places, and they're editors, and they're like, "Yeah, I'll help you out." And like, they were really well. I have to say, I have to be very grateful to Rukshan, because he's always been pushing me. He's like, "Don't be shy. Just like ask people, and like ask them for
Yeah.
like as a favor. Don't even nobody have to pay or anything like that." And
Right.
Right. I mean, it's at the end, it's like collaboration.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so sure enough, we have 3 editors, and then the trailer and the two teasers. They were done by an editor, but then I had to re-edit them,
Mm-hmm.
because again, I wanted to do everything like you said, like how a studio does it, and or a big production company does it, and have all these additional assets,
Mm-hmm.
and have a music supervisor. And so I reached out to a friend of mine, Myra, and she helped me out, like edit the series to have more music that it's well, all the music is from local bands, but
Mm-hmm.
also was very important for me to have Latinx as well.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
No, that's good. I mean, that's what we kind of try to do on the show too. We showcase local bands. Because there's talent
Yeah.
there.
Oh, and I'm wearing one of them. Well,
Oh.
see, they're
Oh, I
they're
don't
in
think I've heard them. Free promos. But question. So, but based on just what I'm reading here on Instagram, like the bio for people who are looking at on YouTube, just to recap what Rukshan says, that when a queer Latina architect meets a struggling Asian comic at an improv class, their spark sends them on a humorous and heartwarming journey. Now, what was the idea behind that story? Like, why that story? Like, that's what I want to know.
Well, it's based on personal experience,
Mhm.
and I don't think there's enough Latinx content out there. And again, I think the best art comes from a deep place in
Yeah.
people's lives. And even though it's huge for me to share this, like, I was just like, this is my story. I want to tell my story, and make it funny, because there's too much drama. So it's a dramedy.
Mhm. It's a dramedy?
It's a dramedy, but mostly comedy. And so yeah, it was really important for me to make it as local as possible, because I grew up here, and I just didn't see that, like, working where I work. I was just like, oh my god, it's the same thing, middle America, whatever. And
Mhm.
like, why not, like, when it was funny when we shot our series, Vida was being shot.
Wait, which one?
Vida from Stars with Tanya
Oh, yeah,
Saracha.
yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. And my mom was like, "Oh, you know, like they're filming over there," and like, cause my sister lives in Boa Heights, so we filmed in her house.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, I hope I can finish the post production before it comes out, because then people are gonna be like, oh, it's like Vida," but I'm like,
Yeah,
"It's
that
my own
that thing.
story."
Yeah, that's the thing, that you gotta be competing. But I mean, from what I was able to see, I saw
Uh-huh.
the pilot episode.
Yeah.
I don't want. I'm not gonna spoil it for anybody. But
Thank
to me,
you.
it was interesting. I thought the concept was interesting, and then seeing certain places that I recognize in this general Southeast LA area, I thought it was pretty cool. Because you're seeing places that somebody else like sees them, but they don't pay attention to. And they're
Yeah.
like oblivious to what the thing around them is. And
Mhm.
it's not until you see it on TV and you're like, oh shit, that's my hometown. And
Yeah.
you have a more of a connection to what you're watching. So seeing that, yeah, how that those people or characters were, who they were represented by, I think was also a huge impact. I think in what makes a show, or at least what I saw, different.
Yeah.
So with
That's
that
for
being
sure.
said, you guys working in that industry, being people of color, was that what like you guys obviously didn't want to create something that didn't represent who you guys were,
Mhm.
right? So tell me a little bit about like what was I gonna say? I lost my train of thought. In regards to the storyline, and the characters there, how were they involved in how you guys were, growing up, or who made you guys?
Well, what made me realize to be more involved with the community was actually leaving the community and realizing, like, oh wow, like, in a sense, it is a bubble, but it's a great bubble, and it's I think people in Southeast LA are very proud of their Latin culture, and
Mhm.
it's great to mix that with American culture. And my cousin is a teacher, and she asked me one day, "Oh, can you be like a guest speaker?" And I told them about my experience at NBC, and like before I went to Cal State Northridge and I studied film and television,
Mhm.
and I double majored in French, so I lived abroad in France. And I think also because my sister studied Italian, and like I look up to her, and I
Yeah.
was like, all right, I will speak French. But anyway, but what I'm trying to say is that when I went to speak to the class and I showed them all these
Mhm.
pictures of like going to France, going to Italy, going to Germany, they're like, "Miss, I didn't know somebody from this neighborhood could do that." And I was like,
Yeah, like get
"What?
out of here, right? Yeah.
You can do that?" So
Yeah, but like you said, it's like those things that you see. At least from what I remember when I was a kid, there was specific things that I wanted to, character I wanted to play, but they were like, you can't be that guy.
yeah,
And it's like, you don't look like that guy. And it's like, you know what? Whatever. I could
Right.
still be him on the side. And it's
yeah,
like those things that, as an adult, because I've had conversations with people my age, or
yeah,
just older, or anybody who's just, I guess, can have a conversation with you.
yeah,
But sometimes their point of views state otherwise, saying like, "Oh, representation doesn't matter, man. Like, what do you care about that?"
yeah,
But then it's like you really got to think about it. Maybe those are things that have been set on our minds to think that they're completely normal, and we normalize the fact that we're not represented.
mhm,
And then when you see somebody try to, put these characters on the screen, you think they're pandering to you, and they're like, it just creates, I guess, in some sort of internal conflict.
mhm,
And I think, once you start seeing more of these things and you start seeing your stories represented on screen, it's
yeah,
easier for you to, tell everybody else to like fuck off, and just, start changing the narrative of how we're represented in a
mhm.
sense. So, I mean, I don't know what you guys think about that, but
No, I've
Yeah.
Rukshan, what was that lady I told you that I met? She's from Spain, but she was a producer for Guillermo del Toro and all those big Latino directors. Do you remember? Was it Paz?
I Yeah, it was Paz. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I went to NALIP, which is the National Media Latino Association of Producers, and it was a panel of female producers, and Paz, who is known to produce Guillermo del Toro, Alfonso Cuarón movies, was talking about content, right? What type
mm-hmm.
of content do people want to buy, or what sells, And she really broke it down to me, and I also kind of knew that too, because again, growing up here in Southeast LA, at home, I in Galavision, my parents would have that all the time, and I would watch like really, old Mexican
Yeah.
movies. But in that school, it was like Mr. Rogers and all this
Yeah.
other stuff. But she said basically you have to be writing stories that are humanistic or like
Mhm.
just in general a broad approach to humanity and what makes us as humans and like those types of things. And that's
Mhm.
how I always felt pursuing the things that I wanted to do, because I was just like, who cares if I'm Mexican? Like, I just want to tell good stories. I want to tell
Yeah.
funny stories. And sure, like those little nuances that maybe white America will be like, oh, that's interesting, or funny, or oh yeah, because one thing I remember when I studied abroad that really shook me was that a lot of my white classmates who grew up in California were like, oh my god, I had to ask my parents to send me a bottle of tapatio because there's no tapatio. They just crave chile, and I was
Yeah.
just like, what? But
Yeah, that's like one of those top, those main Mexican or Hispanic
yeah,
Latino
and they were all just
culture.
like, "Oh my god, I haven't had tacos in the longest," and I was just
Yeah.
like, "Come on, dude! Like we're in France." And although I have to say, after 6 months of living in France, I did miss Chile, so I was really happy to go to Barcelona and found Chile, and I was just like, okay. but yeah, going back, it's just telling. I think that what any person can do for whatever type of art that they want to share with the world is just relate to your core human needs or
Mhm.
human desires, and I think people will relate no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, because you're being honest with yourself and you're being honest with the people who you're presenting that to.
Yeah.
Instead of some like a scripted type of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's what's really important, and again, why I think it is important after and as the end product to have representation.
Mhm.
I was preparing myself for this conversation earlier, so watching a bunch of videos and all that stuff, and you kind of see like the history, how like different races, different cultures have been just, and I don't want to say appropriated in the sense that they're also stereotyped,
Yeah.
and even like
Mhm.
6-10 years ago, you still see movies that show specific characters like Hispanics, like janitors or
Mhm.
maids or the sex fiends,
Yeah.
or and African Americans as slaves or drug dealers and criminals, and
Yeah.
Asian Americans also as just being like Rukshan mentioned earlier, just
Mhm.
being strict and being about school, and I think it's time to start breaking those down like all the way.
Mhm.
Oh, is that another call? Oh, okay. I think
Oh
that's you.
yay, Briza.
It's cool. I'll let you bring her into the conversation right now. Oh yeah, go for it. We have another caller coming in. What? Oh, it's ready. Oh, she's already there. Oh, hello. What's her name? I'm sorry.
Hey, Briza,
Oh,
can you hear us? Hello. Hello.
oh, she
Oh.
hung up. Okay.
Oh.
Wait. So, but we still have Rukshan online, right? Oh, okay. Okay. Cool. All right. We have Rukshan here. You're still here, right, man?
Rukshan.
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool. Cool. Yeah. Yeah. I know there's another call coming in, but I guess we'll wait for it. Where were we going with this? Oh yeah. So to jump on to another point,
Mhm.
you say you consider yourself like Latin Hispanic, right?
Mhm.
And then Rukshan, you said Asian American. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
so being so we have two different points of cultures here,
Mhm.
So with that being said,
Right.
like how has that been for you guys working in an industry that is majorly white?
Um, it's very tiring, but I'm really glad Rukshan is by my side, and I think for him the same thing, because we're
Yeah.
always.
Finding allies. Finding allies is important. When you're part of an industry that has been for so long, ruled by one type of person and one gender also.
Right.
It's like the people coming up, you kind of have to find your allies and create this like network of people that are going to support you and champion you and help you get to the next level. It's really hard to do it on your own, and both Laura and I have felt several times like there's moments where you feel like you're the only one and you're like alone,
Mm-hmm.
and people kind of it's not outward, but you can tell when you feel like you're other.
Yeah.
And so when we were creating this series, we really did want to talk about what it was like to be other. Like for Valentina, who we're going to talk to Briza in a minute. In a lot of her scenes, she's continually feeling like she's other, not outright, but it's there, and she can feel it, and everyone else who's around her does not feel it. You know what I mean? And it's a very isolating for you when you are just a minority within a minority.
Yeah. Sorry
in like a very small environment.
Yeah. Sorry, Rukshan. Sorry to interrupt, but I think there's the call. Oh, she hung up
Yeah.
again. Okay, it looks like you're, what's her name, Briza?
Briza, yeah.
Okay, Briza's trying to call, but it looks like we were talking, so she hung up. But once she comes in, I'll try to not to interrupt you, but just so we can have her jump on.
Yeah,
real quick.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
oh,
that'd be great.
Oh, she's coming in. All right, let's see. Hello, Briza.
Hello?
Hi, Laura. I don't know if you want to say hello.
Hey, Briza. Can you hear us?
Oh, hi. Okay, it's the right number. Okay, great. I was like, oh gosh, I hope I got this right.
All right, let's see. We're just trying to get both of you guys on the same line here.
Rukshan and you.
Swap. Rukshan?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And Briza, you're still there, right?
Yes, this is it. Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool.
Perfect. So there you go. What's the saying? Oh, no, wait. It's three's a company, not four is a company. All right, well, point is everybody's here.
How y'all doing tonight?
We're doing good. Thank you for joining us. I've been talking for the last half an hour with Laura and Rukshan, and they've basically just given me a breakdown of what Tiny Laughs was and how it came to be. And
you could go to bios. Yeah.
Oh yeah, bios. There we go. We can put your picture.
Go
But
down,
thank you for calling. Thank you for calling. Can you give us a little bit of information about who you are or what part you do in the series? Oh man, something happened. Oh, wait, hello? Are we still?
Hello?
Oh,
Yeah, I'm still here. Oh, that was interesting.
Sorry. I'm assuming you didn't hear what I said earlier, right? Or like a minute ago?
No, I didn't. I think I lost you with
Okay.
Too loud and Rukshan. Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. It's completely okay. I was just saying thank you for coming on. I was just giving them a breakdown about what the stuff is. Oh, give me a sec. All right, cool. I think everybody's back.
Awesome.
Hello.
Okay, great.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so first of all, sorry guys. This is one of the first phone conversations I've had, so it's like stop, but it's cool. Don't worry, we're all here. But yeah,
Okay,
if you don't mind, just giving us a little bit of background about what you do and what your role was in the series.
Oh, sure. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Briza Covarrubias. I am an LA native. I'm an actor.
Ooh.
Oh fuck! I think the call keeps dropping.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but
Okay.
I usually
Yeah.
have no problems with Dusty.
Oh, okay. No, is Rukshan still there?
Maybe it's because there's two people.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. We'll see. We're gonna get one of them back online right now. But we have
Okay.
30 minutes to go.
So I'll tell you an interesting story with my casting because I did all the casting.
Yeah.
I went to this like casting website where you don't have to pay anything, but like their reply system is really interesting because it's very private, which makes sense. Hello?
Hey.
Hey, we're having issues having two people on the line. Then
Gotcha. Yeah, why don't you go ahead and just have Briza for the second half then?
Okay,
Yeah, we
sounds
can do
good.
that. Thank you.
Yeah?
Thank you for coming on, Rukshan. It was. I wish we could
Oh,
have a little bit more
absolutely.
time, but
No worries. Yeah.
I'm sure we'll try to set something up again. And for those people who are listening to and they're like, oh man, I wanted to listen to him talk, they'll have to wait till the next one. So. But
Yeah, cool. Briza's wonderful, and she's it'll be great to hear her perspective as an actress. So yeah.
Definitely. Well, thank you again, man, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your night. And we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
Sorry.
Sorry.
No worries, thank you.
All right,
All
bye.
right, see ya.
All right, okay, bye.
No worries, man. Cool. So quick intermission for those people listening to everything. Sometimes it happens. You have technical problems you gotta fix on the spot, and sometimes you work with them. I mean, sometimes they can be fixed, but you
Yeah.
work with what you got. So
I think of, 'cause
Yeah.
usually we have one call at last.
Yeah, no, it's cool, man. Don't worry about it. That way we know and we learn. But yeah, for those other people for the people who are listening to, you know, obviously we just finished hearing Rukshan just give us a breakdown of what his perspective was, you know, getting into the project and some of his background. Um, it was getting interesting. But for sure, you know, we'll reach out to him and we'll talk soon. But you know, we still got Laura here, and we have Briza. There
Oh,
she
there she
is.
is. Hello.
Hello.
Yay.
Yeah, we're connecting now.
Okay, great. You're doing a great job. This is fantastic. Everything's working out.
Yeah,
I promise you. I promise you.
no, it's all good. We just finished saying goodbye to Rukshan just because I think we were having technical problems having two people on the line. But
Oh no. Okay. You know what? So you have both. You can give me
No.
a couple minutes, and then. Oh, okay.
No, it's okay, Briza. Rukshan is fine. You talking. I was about to tell him about your casting. So do you want to tell him the story?
yeah, give us.
Oh my
little
God!
story
Yes.
time.
Sure. So here I am, my little self, and then on Instagram I see this like too good to be true type DM saying, "Hey, I have this project. You know, I saw your work. I want to work with you. And I want to, you to work with me." And I'm not kidding you. I was a little like freaked out. I was like, "Who DMs you this? Like, who gives you a great freaking project?" And I took a chance. I was like, "She's a woman, so I can trust her."
Yeah.
And I ended up messaging her, and I was like, "Well, send me the script." At that point, I was like, "Well, it's later in the year. I just wanted to make sure that I was doing something that I really wanted to be a part of, especially if it's a passion project." And when I read the script, I cannot tell you how exciting it was to finally read something that's not just great, but like it isn't about being Latino, or it isn't about like the social issues that we face in terms of like that being the most defining matter. It's just
Right.
about this woman who's like just venturing her own life in the city of LA, my city, and she has like a story. She has more to offer than just like what she looks like, and it was great. I fell in love. I said yes. And when we started the project, I just felt so in awe that she was able to cast two people of color to be the leads. You don't see that anywhere.
Yeah, of course.
It's a beautiful little love interest. It's funny. And although it was a very interesting way to get added to the show, I'm just so glad that she did. And I'm really happy that I was able to say yes and like just collaborate her and with all of the team. They've been so fantastic.
Yeah, I was letting you know that I had the opportunity to watch the pilot, and you know, just the pilot, and it's obviously the pilot is supposed to be the one that like gets you, you know, so you can keep watching it, and then at least people won't be able to watch it at least for a couple of weeks. Let's just say
We're
weeks.
still working on a new release date, but
Yeah.
it's good news because it's going to help us promote the series even more and have more outreach
Right.
and hopefully more red carpet events and
Yeah.
just, again, promote as much as possible.
Right.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
you know what? Especially for new viewers or anyone who are interested, especially for my fellow Angelinos, it's really cool to like see a show about our city through our eyes.
Yes.
There were some like great like shots that Laura did, and just like in terms from a marketing standpoint, that's a side hustle. She did a great job of making sure to like keep true to what the city is, at least for us. We weren't really like trying to paint a different picture other than what we know. So
Right.
I had a really good time, and everyone should just tune in.
Yeah. Well, now you play the character that her name is Valentina, I
Yeah,
think, right?
she's the protagonist.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
the struggling architect.
Valentina Rojas.
Yeah.
So now into what that character is or what it is to you, how do you feel like your experiences, brought you to connect to that character, or what
Got it.
experiences did you have?
You know, when I just playing Valentina, it was very easy to kind of connect to who she was, even though we come from a little bit different backgrounds. There was one thing that I really enjoyed playing, and that is how passionate we are about our jobs or about doing what we think is right for our lives or for our city. I remember a specific moment. Ooh, I don't want to like reveal too much, but I will say she stands up to someone, and that moment was so dope to do, especially in a work setting. I cannot tell you how many times I wish I could have done that. And that was a fantastic way to, like, a little therapy for myself, a little bit.
Yeah.
But no, it was so great to play her. She, coming from, Mexican Catholic family, it was easy to kind of understand a lot of her frustrations. And I love the note that Laura would sometimes be like, you see, like, angry Briza, you know what I mean? Just, like, walk in, and that's you. And I'm like, oh, I fucking got this. I'm sorry. And then that's a curse. sorry.
No. You're allowed to curse. You can say it again if you want.
But no, tampoco. But yeah, no, it was a really fun job, a fun character to play, and give her some volumes. She that scene. Oh, well, we can't get into it too deeply, but some of the characters who she has different like relationships with, and who they are, they're fun relationships that anyone can kind of relate to, and her love story is also something very fun to check in. So yeah.
Yeah, I like. I was gonna bring up a point that I'm just rephrasing here, but it was something you said earlier in regards to, like, seeing the script. It was about the story. It wasn't about like the social stuff that was going on, or culturally, I guess you can say. But it was just a story about. It was just a story that happens to be a person of color in the stuff,
Yes, yes. Sometimes I feel like writers and directors and casting directors, I feel like they think that they need to fulfill a quota and represent us, and by doing so, they need to talk about everything that our culture is and whatnot. But we're just people living our daily lives, and that's interesting to watch, man. Like, who we are and where we come from perhaps might affect the way that we react to certain situations, but it's not about necessarily just the social issues that we're facing day to day, because at the end, everyone faces the same problems.
Yeah, right. There was a quote that I heard. I was telling Laura that I did some research before, in regards to what I was going to talk about, and some of the stuff that I came across was this video of I forgot the guy's show, the Oliver show. It's on Comedy Central or something, but he had a director.
Oh,
in there,
right.
And one of his quotes that just stuck to me was saying that, a movie with a person of color doesn't win an Oscar unless it's talking about like the Civil War or some sort of like social thing, that happened. But and then the guy's like, oh well, we gotta trick the white people into think that it's about a social issue or something. And then to me, it was funny. But again, like you said, it's doesn't have to be about the struggles or just talk about immigration all the time in movies, because we're more than that. We're more than just that. We're also human, like you said, and we come from a real background that doesn't necessarily have to do with the way or our culture. I guess you could say, we're just people.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that was a really important, point. So thank you for bringing that up.
Of course, no, thanks. That's what I talk about day to day, right? No,
also, one thing that she left out is that she told me, and I was very touched, that it was the first series or a project where she cried on cue. I was just like,
oh my god, yes,
like real cry.
Yeah, real cry.
Dude,
she did it like 4 times. I was like, damn, Briza, you're so talented.
Wow, damn.
Oh, Laura.
But is it it like the teary eye, or is it like the one that rolls down your cheek?
It rolls down.
It rolls down the cheek.
I was just like, oh my god.
All right, cool. That's present.
Laura's direction on that was like, it's such a heart being whipped out of you, and I was like, oh shoot, okay, like I'm gonna have to, get into it. And fun fact, the song and the mood that had to get me there, to this day, when I listen to that song, I think about the person I was crying about in that scene. I kid you not. Sometimes that song by Rake comes on, and I'm like, oh my God, I remember those feelings.
Yeah, you embrace them. Now, is this
I really did.
As a trait of the secret, for somebody who's in the work of being an actor or an actress, like, what kind of mindset do you have to be in there to be like, okay, I'm gonna cry right now? Like, is that
right?
Do you go somewhere dark or like deep, or is it like something you imagine?
Right. There's different tricks. Not say tricks, but for me at least, I want to make sure that I feel it so I can give you the most honest reaction to that. But I think maybe the underlining theme or the underlining trick that helps me out the most is music. I'm a dancer at heart as well. I danced before I started acting, and I'm a kinesthetic learner. So anytime that I can feel something, which for example is music, that helps set the tone. Depending, of course, on what what the scene is about. But in that scene, it was. Can I say what? Not too in depth. What can I just say it, Laura, a little bit?
Don't spoil it for me yet. Don't spoil.
I'll just say it. So she just had an argument with an ex, and her queerness, we mean bisexuality. And so yeah, it was a big thing that happens more often than not in the LGBT group where like she's questioning her
Yeah.
sexuality.
Okay.
Her
Okay.
ex is questioning her
Yeah.
sexuality. Yeah.
Damn.
And so I
Oh, damn.
took that moment of
That hit
like
hard.
just
Yeah.
being so hard. I know, wow, your heart is so. It's not hard, you know. So we're human to
Yeah,
look
yeah.
back at some heartache, but yeah, I would say for any actor out there who's thinking about different ways to experiment and what works for you, music and just really focusing on whatever that scene is and making it real for you. For me, it was just attaching a song to that character and really thinking about like honestly, like what would she be doing if she listened to this pet song? Would she be crying? Would she be yelling? Would she be angry? And just get in it.
Damn. Okay. See, now people know. I'm gonna practice that. Fake cry in front of everybody. Nah, I'm kidding.
And,
Or if I was gonna dig hole and get real angry, you know what I mean? It's a different thing.
and one thing too, like again, I DM'd her. I kid you not, 2 weeks before we shot, because there was actually Deanna was gonna be Valentina, but like she just seemed not really committed to being an actress, which is fine. But she was still she was more Patty than Valentina. Her Patty is her best friend. And she's more chillax, and she's just like, she reminds me of my cousin, because that's how my cousin is.
Yeah.
And she'll tell you straight up like, fool, don't do that, don't be stupid or whatever. She'll
I
talk to you
loved
like
it.
that, right? But one thing so it was 2 weeks before we shot, and I kid you not, I talked to Briza probably twice for 2 hours every time.
Yeah.
And we met the first day we shot.
That was the first time you physically met.
Physically met, yeah.
Wow. How? Okay.
So she had a lot
Yeah.
of trust in me, and I had a lot of trust in her, and it worked out. And she came super prepared. She's like, girl, I got you. I have props. I have different, costumes. And I was just like, oh, my God, I love you so much. You have no idea.
That's good. I mean, it's always the first time meeting is a little, it's difficult with anything, anybody.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, man, it's
Oh
a lot
my
of pressure.
God, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's once you
Yeah.
break that ice, everything falls
Yeah.
together, I guess, So
Yeah.
like being in both of you guys being in that experience or this project, how do you think that has or has that changed things in you in regards to how you perceive different things in your daily life?
Ooh. I'll say for myself, after playing Valentina and being a lead in the series and being able to work with such a great crew, I feel a little bit more confident in my auditions now. I've done. I believe that all of us did such a great job, and being given the opportunity of that role, I'm like, I feel like I am capable for that as well in the future. Now I not necessarily walking with a chip on my shoulder, but I'm like, you know what? There are characters out there that I know I can play. That there's characters out there that I know I can relate to, and that other people can see themselves in me as well. So now I'm like more excited to see what other projects can come my way and how I can conquer them. Especially after, like Laura said, I would meet the actors then and there, and we would have to just go with it. And when it's passion projects, sometimes I feel like actors. This is I guess a message for actors. I know we pay to go to classes, but sometimes our classes are right there at the job, or right at that student film, or right at that audition that we didn't think we got. That's the moment where you really hone in your skills, and I was really lucky to be able to do that with Laura.
Oh.
I'm teary right now. I'm crying.
I guess for me is that, I've always been kind of like a goal-oriented person, and if I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it.
She does.
But,
she does.
But I think, I ran the LA Marathon in 2015, and this is like by far the longest marathon I've been on.
That's 26 miles or something, right? Oh, man.
Yeah, but like I said, I started this back in 2017, and I was just like, I don't want to say cocky, but I was just like, I can edit this, I can do this, I can do that. And like by 2019, I'll be submitting it to different film festivals, but like, I was like, if I'm going to do it right, I just got to take my time and be patient and figure, like I said, getting a music supervisor and getting more bands so I could have more emotions in the scenes. Not to say the actors didn't bring emotions, but that's a technique that filmmakers use, right? And also to just welcome people into the world and really, allow them to live and breathe the world. but yeah, it's been the longest marathon, and I'm just looking forward to our premiere party and having all the cast and crew celebrate, and just enjoy everything, and then I can relax. Because
Yeah.
right now I'm just always like, oh my god, what else can I do? What, and because like Britta
Yeah.
said, I had an additional photo shoot with them, and most of the time for a big production company or studios, and when you're involved with the show, that's what you do to promote the series, right? And you could have different locations, and like for Jeff, I had him like coming outside of a office and like being all sad, and also doing his stand-up comedy at Persian Square. And for Britza, I had her take pictures of downtown, and so I'll be continuing to post that in Instagram to announce the date, or like, oh, check out this exclusive clip, or we took a lot of behind the scenes footage, and so again we'll post that on Instagram. But no, I'm happy I did this.
Yeah, make sure you follow us.
Yeah, we are Tiny Laughs on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
Get that promo.
And again, going back to, like I told you, when my cousin asked me to talk to her class and be a guest speaker, and realizing that we could do a lot if we just believe in ourselves and not just have people's head. And I know it's very difficult for any immigrant to tell their parents like, oh, we need to be an artist and stuff like that, and they're like, how much money are you getting? And it's like, but and even
It's true.
even my mom, she was so mad when I had bought equipment for this, so I didn't have to rent it out, and I hid it in my car for about a couple months so she wouldn't see.
Oh man, yeah.
And because she was just like, I want you to save to buy a property, and I was just like, but I want to get my career to the next level.
Yeah.
And the only way to do that is to put in my money.
Yeah, you gotta invest in yourself. Yeah.
But she didn't understand.
It's hard. It's hard, and I feel you on that. I think one thing like you said, it is so hard for especially immigrants who come to this country to believe that there is something else other than just working hard to make a living, And when you tell your parents you just want to do your dream, they're just so freaking scared. Tienen miedo, and it's like, papi, mom, y'all immigrated here to give us a chance. This is us taking it,
Yeah, it's true.
And also, thank you for the free food.
Oh man, well, for the most of us, otherwise they kick you out at 18.
No, my mom makes me cook.
She
Because
makes you cook?
I'm a better cook. She says it all the time.
Yeah. I pay for the groceries, actually, so...
So, quick thing before we start wrapping this up. Like, I know we talked about location earlier, like where the web series took place. And one of the places I saw, at least in the pilot, because that's the only one I've gotten to see, was I saw El Cielito Cafe.
Yeah.
And I thought that was cool because I passed there. I've been there like twice, and I'm like, oh damn, I've been in here.
Dope,
So like, what was? I mean, Briza, you say you're from this general area, or like Southeast LA, or where? Where are you from? Oh wait, she's still in the.
Are you there?
Hello? Oh, yeah. Oh, perfect.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I was just
Sorry.
asking, like where do you like reside? Where are you from? Like, are you like based in South LA?
No, I'm actually more on the Harbor Gateway area, Carson, Torrance.
Oh, okay.
Gerrymandering has me on the LA County. I'm actually in Torrance, but really I'm Carson. It's a lot. So I guess like the nice way to say it would be South Bay. The real way to say it is Harbor Gateway.
Harbor Gateway. Yeah, I think a lot of us know where that's at. Yeah.
Right. And like bringing up a little bit about El Cielito Cafe, I told Laura it was so great that we were able to work with a Latino-owned business. I've never seen a cafe owned by a person of like color, and I'm from LA. That's the closest thing to that would be I'm shouting out to Hojas, which is also a Latino-owned cafe. It's a Wilmington in San Pedro and Long Beach. Anyway, but back to El Cielito, it was super dope to meet someone. I think Daniel's younger than me, and like knowing his story, where he comes from, and how he, again, just like Laura and just like myself, just started with the dream. And like, I know his father was able to help him out on that as well. But it's a fantastic place. If you haven't checked it out, go for it. It was super dope to just be working with LA locals. You don't get that a lot in this business.
No, of course. Yeah, I think if anything, the way I mean, from what I see, this is my perspective on it. But there's within the Latino and Hispanic communities, there's also people from different, from Colombia, from Puerto Rico, So we technically all still see ourselves as separate groups, even within that larger community. So I think a lot of the times there's a lot more, competition against each other than supporting each other's arts or crafts and stuff. And I think, as we educate ourselves more, we're able to pick ourselves up and the other people around us at the same time. And that's how I think ultimately will come together as a culture and rise to the next level.
Yeah.
I don't think we're done yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And yeah, like I said, like that was the main goal too for me, to showcase where I live and I continue to live, and I'm very happy with all the community involvement in Sedla, and how people are really, because honestly, I don't know if this happened to you, but when I graduated high school back in 2005, people were like, well, let's get out of this place. Like, what does this place have to offer?
Well, that was me.
And,
Yeah.
well, I was
Yeah.
like 50-50, because I was like, I like it. Like, it's not too bad. And like, it was nice. It was chill. But I didn't like the fact that, like, people were just, I don't know. To me, they were being snobs, and I was like, hardworking people live here. Like, it's yeah, sure, you're not gonna party all the time like you do or whatever in Hollywood or whatever. but I think it comes down to when in elementary, even though I was raised here, but like a lot of every summer since I was like probably 7, I would go back to Mexico. And it was really nice to see that my elementary teachers would also teach me the Mexican culture, and so that would help me going back to Mexico. But it also just helped me in general. Like I ran into my 3rd grade teacher when I graduated from college, because she was really close to my friend, and she told me, like, do you remember when I had the Day of the Dead altar? And she's like, I got in trouble for that.
Oh,
Back
the
in
teacher got
the
trouble.
because back in the day they didn't do that. Like, I remember there was a law passed.
Yeah, and then like in the
Well,
90s.
Coco didn't exist back in the day, right?
Yeah. So
That's why now everyone's like into it, or like how now they're selling positivity candles for $20. I was like, y'all can just go to La Carniceria
I
in the
know.
corner and
Exactly. Yeah.
do some brujeria for free.
No, right. I mean, that was one of the bigger ones, like that law that they
Yeah.
put in place, that you couldn't teach Spanish or talk to their kids in Spanish anymore. And I was like, what the? I was like in 3rd grade when that happened, and I was like, what? Like I talked. I was
right.
I
I
talked
like
both,
it was
but-
changed that. Right. I when I learned about that, it was I graduated back in 2011, and being from LAU's district, you almost felt ashamed being, I would say, Mexican, because people would just assume the bad stereotypes about you. I went to school at a time where everyone would kind of be disappointed if you're just Mexican or whatnot. And it's like you said before, Latinos, we're a little rainbow, and we look different, and we have different cultures. And I think it's so awesome that, Laura, you were able to get like that at least in school, like being able to like be prideful about where you come from.
Yeah, I know it's rare, because when I went to college and I started meeting, Cal State Northridge has a lot of Latinos, and some of them did not had that experience, and I felt bad for them.
Yeah.
But but going back to El Cielito, yeah, like I found out about El Cielito because of Chicas Roqueras. And I was so happy that, they kind of also, like, they were following a bunch of pages on Instagram.
Yeah.
And like I said, I moved back home, so I was just like, oh, where's the community and stuff? Because I do like hanging out in other places, but I'm like, I drive an hour going to work and coming back, so might as well see what's here and help people establish again a more cultural, open environment for the kids growing up here. Like, I feel like, damn, you guys have it so lucky right now.
Yeah,
with all
for
this
sure.
cool stuff.
There's some. How can I say it? This area hasn't been tapped to fully, creatively.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff brewing. There's a lot of stuff happening, but it just hasn't been tapped into. Like, it doesn't have its full potential yet. So I think
I think it is. Like with Chicas Roqueras, Semillas. I know there's other community organizers that, like, in the spare time, just being volunteers, reaching out to the community. But I think people like me that commute, that have to go somewhere to work, they don't have the time or realize that like I was telling you, I was like, oh shoot, I live so close. Like I didn't even know. you know?
Yeah, there's this little gem in here. Yeah, super audio.
Yeah, and if I mean, I'll let people know that I grew up here in Southgate that are still around, that I could just be like, hey, like, if you want to do something Friday night, open mic, or is it Friday or Saturday?
Saturday.
Saturday, yeah.
Yeah.
So.
That's what I told him. It's like one of those things that is not around here, but he's making it happen. And it's like, what? Local comedy show. Nobody hears from, nobody around Bell hears that happening in their own city.
Well, that's why we gotta show it up. We gotta like post this. We're so excited to share memes. Let's start sharing more opportunities for one another in our communities, right?
For sure.
I always tell friends, like, if you're willing to pay this much to go see a movie, go check out your community gigs or your community events, because like you'd be surprised. It's really awesome to see people where you grew up and like see them flourish. And like Laura said, we don't always have to leave where we come from. We can always just help out or just, go to El Chilito Cafe. That's for you.
Well, thank you guys for both coming out.
Yeah, thank you. Rukshan.
Rukshan. I had his name for a couple of minutes now. Okay.
I heard it.
So, thank you guys for coming out, Briza, Laura. Where can people find you besides Instagram? We are Tiny Laughs.
We're going to be launching on Reverie.com and Pluto TV, and I will let you know as soon as I know the official release date, but I'm going to assume by next year. Mm-hmm. But is it possible to just show the trailer real quick before we leave?
We could do that, yeah.
So if you go to the website, tinylaughs.com.
tinylaughs.com. And then while we're doing this, if people want to reach out to you guys for whatever reason, hopefully it's not weird reasons.
So just click on watch the Tiny Laughs.
Oh, that's right here?
Yeah.
Where can people find you guys?
You can find me.
Oh, sure.
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
Oh, go for it, you guys.
Oh, no. Go. Oh, I was just like answering for both of us. Yes, go for it, girl.
No, you go ahead, Rita.
Oh, sorry. Okay. You can just find me at _Briznes, BRIZNESS, or just Briza Covarrubias. I don't think there's someone out there with this long name, so I think you'll find me.
And what about yourself, Lara?
You can follow me on Instagram at Laura Rivas. And like I said, soon as I know the launch date, you guys can check it out on Reverie.com, and then it's going to be on Pluto TV, and I believe we're also going to be on TiVo, and then after 3 months of being released there, we're going to be on Amazon Prime and YouTube Prime.
Woo! You heard that right, y'all.
I'm going to play the trailer here real quick. Let me just lower the volume because sometimes it's just really loud. So let's see. This is a Tiny Labs trailer. You can find it on YouTube. Let's check it out here. Let's see.
I could do it.
That's me, responsible.
Oh, sorry, I'm going to restart that real quick.
I think it's really great you're
okay.
working a responsible job.
It's actually my first time doing stand-up. Thanks.
I could do it.
That's me, responsible.
I just keep looking through everyone's work. Fact-checking. Calm down. Just ask one of the higher-ups to reassign you.
You're not bi, okay? You're gay.
Listen, you just gotta break your bubble. At first it'll be chuckles, then tiny laughs, then you'll have the whole crowd roaring.
There it is, Tiny Laughs. Well, people, you see what it is. I hope you guys tune in, and then obviously when the premiere comes out, we're gonna promote we're gonna promote the shit out of this.
Thank you.
So you can count on us. But again, thank you guys for coming out.
Yeah,
Laura,
thank you
Briza,
for
if you're still there. And, for sure, we're going to definitely check out the web series once it releases. And we got your back.
Awesome.
We got
Thank
your
you
back.
guys.
Thank you guys, Briza. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. I think she's probably gone, but you're not. But all right, Laura, thank you. Super Audio, Brothers. Super Audio Network. Dre, thank you again for everything. And we'll catch you guys next time. Peace.